Authorities in Littleton, Colorado are securing the scene of a deadly school shooting so they can make a final body count as the community and the nation struggles to come to grips. Authorities at Columbine High School are searching for booby trap explosives left behind by the two suspects. The sheriff in the Denver suburb compares the search to walking through a minefield. Two young men apparently dressed in long black trench coats opened fire about an hour and a half ago at a high school just outside of Denver. Set at 15 or 16, including 2 teenagers police say did the shooting. Earlier, police had said as many as 25. The 2 suspects are believed to have killed themselves.
Right. That's the only kind of games that we had back then in the early 90s were for any kind of violence. It was like the original Doom, Metal Gear Solid, little stuff like that. It wasn't actually like shoot 'em up games and let's kill everybody games.
Well, there was Doom. Doom was pretty violent for its time, and
You're
plus
shooting
Doom
fucking
had
monsters.
You're fighting. That's the thing. Well, there was the online Doom where you're shooting at other humans. But
in the early 90s,
yeah, the original Doom. Yeah, there were Doom servers. You could get on websites that were hosting like Doom levels. There was a Doom map editor where you could build and go online. Yeah, there was online play for Doom. I remember it very clearly.
Nintendo didn't have a way to go online.
Oh, not Nintendo, no. But Doom came out on PC.
It was on PC, but even then, man, very few people had anything better than dialogue.
Yeah, and that's what it was played on. Like I remember watching my dad play Doom online.
Being able to play it and what you're actually going to get from all that.
Yeah, when you look at today's standards, it was shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, Doom was horrible graphics. Even the latest ones. It was.
I don't know. I loved the later. I mean, I loved all the Doom games.
Even on the 64, they didn't take advantage of the polygon graphics, so you could actually see stuff. They were still using sprites, which was absolutely fucking horrible. It really showed how much they were lacking. But you might see a patch of color to show some blood, but that was about as much gore.
Yeah. It wasn't so much about the gore as it was the concept of the kill itself. They didn't really have the gore in those games, and I remember I didn't expect it then. It wasn't until later, like with
and I know Doom took off with a freaking cult following.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Doom.
And I'm one of the ones that couldn't stand it.
But Eric was a fucking massive. Anytime he mentioned it in his journals, like he capitalized all the letters. Like he referred to a lot of like what he was doing as Ultimate Doom. He was super obsessed with Doom. Was it the video game's fault? No, but there's arguments to be had that people that are already of a certain mind frame having access to virtual murder, it would help them hone those skills.
I admit that it desensitizes folks. It's kind of the intention of it. If you look at it from the military mindset, if you buy into any of the other, I'm good right now for things. So yeah, I think they're designed to desensitize us to shit like that. That way we would tolerate war or participate in war more readily, kind of a thing. But to actually say, hey, I can shoot people on a video game. Let me go shoot people in real life. That's a step I guess with my mindset, I can't put together.
Yeah.
Now, not freaking out when you actually pull the trigger and blow somebody's brains out the back of their head. Yeah, the desensitization. Yeah, I can do this shit. That part of it, yeah. You pull the trigger, somebody dies, you don't freak the fuck out like you should being a normal person. But I get that.
Right. It kind of breaks down that wall a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember for me, the first time I played Half-Life on PC, There's, you can kill an enemy, or in some case, in Half-Life's case, you could kill friendlies. There were like scientists and like cops who would help you, but you can kill them anyway. And when you kill them, not only can you kill them, you can also like continue to beat their bodies until it falls apart into pieces. Like bloody pieces go skittering across the floor, leaving blood trails behind it. I was maybe 13 when I first played that game, and it had something of an effect on me. It was like, wow, there was like a rush from it, There was like this wow. I just beat that scientist. I just beat an innocent person into pieces. So I mean, there is that. Had I been a little bit more fucked up as a kid, maybe I would have, went further with it than that. I think Eric did with Doom. Whatever it was about Doom, it's the hallway style, fucking like, shoot 'em up like it is in Doom, where everything's in like this maze of hallways. And when you look at the videos they took of inside the school, he was recreating it in his head.
I can see the correlation. Yeah, I can see it. I got the perspective there. But being a fucked up kid that really got off on playing first-person shooter games, I mean, I was pretty much addicted to 007, and those were actual humanoids. They looked like people.
Well, they looked like people had been carved out of boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, they were people. And I'm shooting them in the face with actual guns that had names.
Yeah.
Real guns.
Yeah.
Real settings. Yeah, I realized it was a video game, but, I was actually going to places that actually existed because they were in the movies. And those movies were shot on location. So
you can extrapolate it in your brain. When you're playing the game, you can see these places. You can see this guard tower over here.
Right.
You can see this like lab or whatever.
And of course, that got graduated into Perfect Dark, and just about every first-person shooter game that's been out there, I've probably played once or twice. And to the point where now I'm playing, well, you've seen it, DayZ, to where not only can you shoot the guy, you can run over there, cut him up, and fucking cook him, feed him to other people.
Yeah.
I cannot say, even as messed up as an individual that I am, that I have actually had the thought of, I just don't like the way that guy's looking at me. I'm going to go cut him up and cook him right quick.
Agreed.
Feed him to that fellow over there.
Agreed. And there's a special, there's like a certain thing in your brain that keeps you from that. And Eric's was gone. He did, now another interesting thing is, so I was mentioning earlier with his Doom gaming online, he had websites where he would upload Quake maps and Doom maps, whatnot, for like online play. And one of the Doom maps he uploaded was almost to scale of the part of his school between the entrance, the cafeteria, and the library. He had mapped out on this game in Doom, and until you see the way
Eric?
he mapped it, yeah.
Yeah, he showed himself to be a bit of a damn genius. He's the one that sat in the damn cafeteria for a while and figured out exactly what fucking time was going to be the most populated time.
And they built these bombs, and like they failed horribly, but the bombs were actually pretty powerful bombs. They're just their timer device.
Yeah, the timer didn't work.
Yeah,
I didn't look into it.
Time to plan. They were about to graduate in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, these guys were freaking took a couple of weeks from graduating. One of them had attended the senior prom. Everything looked to be golden. They had aspirations of going to college, had their futures mapped out. Then something flipped.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids didn't come from broken homes. There's no history of abuse. A little bit of bullying in school because they were nerds, but, what the hell?
And that's a little bit debated. I kind of think it did go on because the kids that were saying, no, they weren't bullied, and the teachers who were saying, no, there won't no bullying going on. You got to think from the teacher's perspective, if you admit that there was bullying going on, then you have accepted a type of the responsibility. Same with these kids. None of the jocks will be like, oh yeah, we bullied the shit out of him. Because then what? Now you're as bad as them. So
okay. let's just point out that this was the 90s, and they were nerds.
Yeah, I was one of these kids, right?
They were bullied.
I had a trench coat. I was wearing trench coats before it happened.
Me too.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, this is the reason I don't wear trench coats
The
anymore.
Crow and the Matrix influenced my interest of trench coats.
Yeah, it was just early death metal, and I saw a black leather trench coat, and I was like, I gotta wear it.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as the first time I seen a black trench coat on a person, I'm like, that's the look for me.
Yeah, I was known in my school in Pinehurst when I went to high school there, here in North Carolina, for a fair short period of time. I was known there because I was the guy that had long hair in the trench coat.
Yeah, they actually, because of me, like the week of the Columbine shooting, not even the week after, it was like the next day.
Yeah, you can't wear that.
Yeah, they came on the announcement because I was the only one in school with one, right? But no more black trench coats will be allowed at Corinth Holders Elementary School.
It's because I'm me, right?
It's like, what? I can open it every morning, and you can see that there's no guns. Except for the one morning. No, but,
Yeah, I mean, I used to love wearing trench coats.
Yeah,
because of this.
I was one of these outcast kids. I hated everyone in the school. And, like, I was one of these outcast kids. Did I do these things? No. But, then again, I didn't have a lackey, for one. And Eric clearly had a lackey. Now, Claybold, he isn't completely innocent in all this. But he was nowhere. He did it more to die.
Yeah, he was.
Eric,
you got an A
kill.
personality and a B personality. A's and B's get along really freaking well because the B doesn't know what he wants to fucking do. He just wants to do something destructive. And the A knows exactly what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
But they need a partner to make them feel better about doing it.
Yeah.
So these guys got along like Palpatine and Vader, man. So well, in fact, that their parents thought it was probably one of the best fucking relationships that they could have found. They actually found their heterosexual life partner kind of a thing. To say it in the best possible terms. I mean, these guys, they deserved to be together. They would have been lifelong friends, kind of friendship. And well, actually, they were.
I mean, you could say
they did have a low.
Well, now that we're 11 minutes into the episode, today
I want to remind you folks what we're actually talking about today. That'd probably be something. They're like, guys.
Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about the JFK assassination today. And how it was actually perpetrated by two kids from Columbine who opened a time portal in the cafeteria that wasn't bombs, folks. It was a time machine. And they went back and killed Kennedy and pinned it all on some poor little communist guy.
Because they were able to open the portal by playing death metal music backwards.
Marilyn Manson's,
the only reason they were able to do that is because Tipper Gore and the PMRC didn't do their job and banned death metal.
And then, this was all really just a big cover-up because what actually happened was Sasquatch got to the school and kind of wreaked havoc. We're talking about the Columbine Massacre today in Littleton, Colorado. For a long time, I actually thought it was in Columbine, Colorado. But no, it was in Littleton, Colorado. Kind of a little suburban town of Denver.
Pretty affluent area.
The what?
Pretty affluent area.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the hood, that is for sure. On April 20th, 1999, Eric Harris and Dylan Claypool carry out an attack that left 15 dead, including themselves. And they wounded like 21 others. Yeah, they wounded 21 people. Killed 12 other students and a teacher and then themselves. It was pretty fucking like insane. It was it was almost like a movie, and it'll come up again because Eric in his journals refers to the school and pretty much the world as his audience. It plays out very much like a movie, almost a badass action movie had it worked out right. Their plan was to set off an explosive bomb in the cafeteria, and they had set and watched the times and everything, like the most time to be the most people in the cafeteria, and they would then shoot people trying to leave. Whoever survived it, they were going to shoot them coming out. And then they had this other bomb that was going to block rescuers and kill anybody that was in the parking lot. It was like their bombs were full of explosives too. But the bomb in the cafeteria didn't go off, so they went with Plan B, which was, all right, fuck everything, we're going in guns blazing. And that's pretty much what they did. They passed by another student, and they said, "What are you guys doing?" Because he noticed they'd been late, they hadn't been in the class or whatnot, and I think it was Dylan said, "I like you now. You need to go home." Pretty much. And the kid she's like, all right. So he just leaves. Like, this was weird. I'm out. And he's a couple blocks away, he starts hearing all the gunshots.
We got to set the scene just a little bit here. This was right before graduation, just a few weeks prior to the graduation of the senior year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they still do it today, but back in the 90s, we used to have senior pranks and senior plays, and they did all kinds. Seniors did all kinds of stupid shit before.
Well, they did a whole video. They made like a whole little
and these guys were doing little movie scenes in the school, wearing their trench coat, playing with airsoft. It wasn't airsoft at the time, but
they looked like guns.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were airsoft guns. They just didn't call them airsoft then.
Yeah. BB guns.
Yeah, something like the Orbeez now, little tiny plastic BBs, basically. Yeah, airsoft. And they would do all kinds of little scenes, and we're posting them online. Now, of course, some of their videos that they started doing closer to the event started getting a little more real, and nobody really paid attention to it. But that will come up in our main episode about this whole thing. But it is important that somebody could have said something and they didn't hear. There was clues. They just didn't see them.
Yeah, Eric actually, it seems almost like he left a trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Like throughout his videos, and for instance, that Doom map we were talking about, like he left a trail of breadcrumbs. And some people say because he wanted to be stopped. I think it's he wanted to see if they could. He saw himself as outside and better than everybody else.
These guys were not dumbasses. They were, like we were mentioning earlier, they were high in their class. One of them, I can't remember which one it was actually in accelerated classes.
I think it was Dylan.
Both of them had plans for college. They were.
Dylan actually had put in applications. Eric didn't. I don't think Eric applied for any colleges. But I think because he had been planning on this, like they say they planned it for a year, but I think they planned it together for a year. I think Eric had been planning this.
He'd been thinking about it for 2 years at least.
Probably his whole fucking teenage life.
Probably so. He started a journal, but 2 years before this, and the very first fucking pages.
I fucking hate everyone.
I hate everyone. I want to die.
I hate the fucking world. Too many goddamn fuckers in it. Too many thoughts about societies all wrapped up together in this place called America, capitalized. Everyone has their own goddamn opinions on everything, and you may be saying, well, what makes you so different? Because I have something only me and V have. V was his nickname for Dylan, vodka. Self-awareness. Call it existentialism, word he made up, or whatever the fuck you want. We know what we are to this world and what everyone else is. We learn more than what caused the Civil War and how to simplify quadrics in school. We have been watching you people. We know what you think and how you act. All talk, no actions. People who are said to be brave or courageous are usually just stupid. Then they say later they did it on purpose because they are brave when they did it on fucking accident. God, everything is so corrupt and filled with opinions and little points of view. And it goes on like this, but I like how he's giving you his point of view and opinions while bitching about points of view and opinions.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that is definitely a human condition. But and before he did it, he apparently left a little micro cassette on the kitchen table before he left for school that day. He says in less than 9 hours now, people will die because of me, and it will be a day that will be remembered forever. So there was definitely time for shit to happen. I don't know when that tape was found, but it wasn't found by his family. It was found after the fact while investigation was going on.
There was a tape that was property of the school from those projects that they were working on doing that little movie at the school, and the very final shot of it is a bomb with a lit fuse with an arrow drawn to the Columbine school map and the words "clue." So,
now the reason nobody thought something was going wrong is because just a little bit before then, actually it was 98, December 98. So yeah, it was just a couple months before. These guys made a video for his for class that they were going to be the trench coat mafia.
Yeah.
And they were going to run around and extort folks to protect preps from bullies.
Yeah. And they like beat and stabbed and
yeah, they were running around shooting. So then we get to the shooting. Like Richard had mentioned, these guys had planted the bombs, and the plan was the timers are supposed to go off, the bombs explode, and anybody coming out running from the bombs, they shoot them. So they were sitting up on top of the hill away from the school outside the cafeteria, and apparently one of these guys inside, doing what high schoolers do, took their friends and we're going to skip lunch and we're going to go outside and hang out outside for a while. So they grabbed them a soda, went outside, and they actually saw them up on the hill loading their weapons. And their thought was, it's just those guys doing their videos again. And somebody else had seen them. I can't remember where they were sitting at, but I caught this in just a back clip on the way over here. That somebody else had seen them, and they were like, "Are these guys doing something?" No, it's probably just a high school prank.
Yeah.
Senior prank day.
So in Dylan's journal, he had like a to-do list, and the to-do list for that morning was walk in, set bombs at 11:09, 4:11:17, leave. Go to Clement Park and gear up and get back by 11:15.
Yep.
Park cars and set bombs for 11:08. Set car bombs for 11:18. Get out. Go to outside hill. Wait. When first bombs go off, attack. Have fun.
Yep. That was the plan. Now if the bombs in the cafeteria would have went off, they would have come running out in that direction into the gunfire, and then a bomb would have fucking blown up behind them in the direction that the kids are running.
Yeah. Like he drew out the next page in his journal, he drew out like a little map.
That's fucking brilliant.
Like, yeah, and this isn't the psychopath, this is the lackey. And his journal was actually pretty his journal was interesting. I read through about half of it. It's a long one. Eric's is more, it's like a manifesto. He uses a lot of like German words. He signs off on one as keine Mitleid, which basically translates to no mercy or no pity. And then underneath that, when in doubt, confuse the hell out of the enemy. Then he says, wait, mercy doesn't exist.
I can't picture what these guys were actually doing, but they were very good actors. These thoughts and plans and stuff in these guys' heads were going on for years. This isn't something that just builds up. Suicide, you don't just one day wake up, I'm suicidal. Having been there, that doesn't just pop up one day. It's a whole lot of stuff that leads you to feeling like shit, to start disliking things that are going around, and then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, this has gotten serious. The realization comes onto you really fucking quick. But the journey there is slow.
Yeah.
And it leaves outward signs. It's something that if anybody pays attention, so people start paying attention. You never know when your friend is going to be doing some shit like this because you didn't ask, what's up?
Yeah.
That simple. But these guys were definitely showing signs.
Yeah. Almost a year before, one of Eric's journal entries say, in May of '98, If you recall your history, the Nazis came up with a final solution to the Jewish problem. Kill them all. Well, in case you haven't figured it out yet, I say kill mankind. No one should survive. We all live in lies. People are saying they want to live in a perfect society. Well, utopia doesn't exist. It's human to have flaws. You know what? Fuck it. Why should I have to explain myself to you survivors when half the shit I say you shitheads won't understand? And if you can, then fucking whoopee-doo. That just means you have something to say. As to my reason for killing, and the majority of the audience won't even understand my motives either. They'll say, he's crazy, he's insane. Oh, well, I wonder if the Bulls won. You see, it's fucking worthless. All you fuckers should die. Die! Fuck morals, fuck civilized, fuck rules, fuck laws. Die. Man-made words. People think they apply to everything when they don't or can't. There's no such thing as true good or true evil. It's all relative to the observer. It's all nature, chemistry, and math. Deal with it. But since dealing with it seems impossible for mankind, since we have to slap warning labels on nature, then you die, burn, melt, evaporate, decay. Just go the fuck away.
I see that bit. I have to admit, I actually kind of agree with it.
I mean,
At one point in time in my life, I actually could have said, fuck, dude, you lead on.
Yeah, there was definitely a time in my life when I was about his age that I
don't know if I was
agreed.
his age, but I can tell you it was around the same damn time period. Early 90s to mid 90s for me.
When this happened, I was getting there. A couple years later, I was there. Not to that, but.
And it wasn't because society sucked at that time. I mean, looking back at it, fucking life was pretty fucking good in the 90s. We survived the 80s, man. It was looking up.
That's why everything's from the 90s are coming back now.
So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, I had that kind of during the 90s. I had that kind of viewpoint.
I did too.
In my own damn life.
Well, in the early 2000s.
Maybe it was something in the water. Maybe that fucking fluoride shit actually had an effect when they started. I don't know.
I can't rule it out.
I can honestly say that particular passage right there, if you'd have preached something like that to me in 1996, I'd have followed it to the end. so he had a point, at least from my perspective anyway. Too many people got to thin to her a little bit sometimes. Do it to cattle if water starts getting low.
Yeah, on November 22nd, 98. Well, folks, today was a very important day in the history of R. Today, along with vodka and someone else who I won't name, we went downtown and purchased the following. Now, the someone else he won't name, that turned out to be that girl that went to the prom with Dylan. That was the someone else he wasn't named.
Brooke?
I guess. The one that Dylan went to the prom with.
I didn't know that. I didn't catch the name of the one
she
that went
went
to
with
the prom.
she actually helped them buy the
Eric
guns.
broke the windshield of a Brooke and then, actually started some.
That was a different girl. That was a girl that he went to the homecoming dance with, and then she didn't want to go back out with him, so he faked his suicide and.
Yeah, well, this is another thing that should have been a clue, in that whole thing is that when he broke that windshield, somebody else stole his backpack while he was throwing a snowball at the freaking car and come up and fucking gave it to her for some fucking. Why you do something like that? I don't know. But that was beside that. That begs other questions. But yeah, he actually run up to the freaking car to where the mom was actually still in the car. And she says, "I've got your backpack. Meet me at your mom's house." And he started yelling and screaming, "Give me my fucking backpack," and losing his temper there. That was the first time that the mother of the other child actually saw any kind of temper out of him. He had, since before that, always been the proper gentleman kind of a thing. The model kid. This is the mindset that everybody thought they were seeing was the model kid.
Yeah.
But it was right beforehand that they actually started showing their true colors outwardly. But yeah, there was supposedly, because he put on death threats on his website after that, there was supposed to have been a search warrant for his freaking house that never got written up.
And the cops covered it up.
Yeah, they did for a while. Yeah. It turns out that the guy that was supposed to have gotten that warrant done and go do that got put onto another case because there was another murder somewhere about this time that got everybody's attention. So it was a stroke of freaking luck or the hammer of destiny that actually allowed this to go through. Because if they had searched his house at that point, the preparation for this had to have been going on for a while. It would have probably found some of these bombs they were building and shit.
They had found pipe bombs that he had made like before all this went down. Like he was a known bomb maker, you know. I didn't read if he had ever been charged with it or not, but they had found like a bunch of pipe bombs near his home. They had found, you know, he was known to have done it. So
this is before that kind of stuff was illegal.
I guess depending on where you were.
Having a device of, you know, what's labeled now as mass destruction started in 2002.
Yeah, but it was illegal to have a pipe bomb when I was a teenager. They didn't like that shit.
You couldn't tell. I mean, you couldn't walk around in the street strapped with bombs around you.
Right.
Of course
I also
not.
grew up in Klan country. They had enough of pipe bombs.
But you know, you could, if somebody called the law because you were blowing up pieces of your own property, and the law showed up, and you were building homemade pipe bombs out of, you know, specific chemicals that I'm not going to mention out here. Learn how to do it your damn self.
or not.
But they just show up and, you know, okay, you're doing it here. Just remember to stay here. Don't go outside your own property with it. And all's good. Be safe. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, are these things going to create flames? Is it going to burn down the forest? If it creates flames, you got to get a fire truck out here. You got to be safe. That was the way it was happening back then. Trust me, I know. I had it done, had it happen.
I mean, it differed probably from one place to the other. I said I don't think he got in any trouble for it, but it was a known thing.
I mean, it's kind of hard to have pipe bombs in your possession that don't endanger other people when you live in an apartment building. So, I mean,
that's a good argument.
There's always going to be, you know, things that common sense should tell you shouldn't have it here.
Yeah.
You live out in the daggone country, you know, nobody's going to get hurt by that thing going off except for you if you do something stupid.
Facts. Someone who isn't me once built a small device that took out like a half acre of tobacco, and it scared that person who isn't me.
I'd be like, go.
Let's just say
I got a mortar at home.
Let's just say fuses were timed incorrectly.
That's a tricky business.
Yeah. But no one was hurt. No one was intended to have been hurt. And actually, at the time I did, there was not even someone who isn't me did it. There was not even any malicious intent. Fuck it. I was just a kid, you know. And we were in a fucking tobacco field in the middle of nowhere. No one got hurt. I got scared shitless because I could have got hurt. I barely made it outside the zone.
Well, the person that wasn't you got scared shitless.
Yeah, that's why I said fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Fuck it. Let them investigate it. They won't find shit.
Statute of limitations is long since over.
Long since over gone. There was no harm except for to a small piece of the tobacco farm. But, you know.
You saved a few lives.
Yeah, maybe I saved somebody from cancer. How's that? Fuck you.
Right.
But, yeah. I mean,
back to these assholes instead of these assholes.
Yeah, we never did anything like that. We never did. And I never went as far off as he did.
So, yeah, these guys that come out of the cafeteria and saw this little dramatic thing happening on top of the hill with two guys in trench coats loading up weapons, it turned out it was not a prank or a show. These guys are the supposed first ones. Now, depending on which story you listen to, it's hard to figure out who was the first one to get shot. Because you got several different perspectives and you got several different stories from the way they actually came into the building and started this.
Yeah.
From where they were and approaching the building, the way that I think actually would have been with these guys coming out of the cafeteria and seeing them on top of the hill. And when they started approaching the school, because the bombs didn't go off, that was the original target. I think that those three were the first ones to get shot at.
Yeah, I think so, because they approached as they were coming in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, one of the other stories say that they came in through the library, and one of the girls that had just dropped her brother off had gotten killed there first as they come into the library. And then you got another one to where the principal was coming down the hallway and they were walking into the main door and shooting down the main corridor, and had some girls coming out of the gym at the time, and they rushed back in, and one of them got shot. But I think it's most likely that they would come toward the cafeteria first, did that, then walked into the main door, maybe by the library, and maybe clipped the girl on the way through.
Well, right after it began, right after the shootings happened, when they were making their way towards the cafeteria, like the school resource officer pops up, and he had like a little, he had a pistol. I can't remember what millimeter and all that, but he had a pistol, and it was like the distance was too far. He couldn't. Him and Eric, him and Harris, like, you know, they exchanged shots at each other for a second, and then but his range on the pistol was too low. Eric had a fucking shotgun, and he wasn't very used to the shotgun because when he fired it at the cop, it came up and like broke his nose. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah, now these guys came in with a Tech 9, which is basically a mini pistol, semi-machine gun, a 995 carbine, a Savage pump-action 12-gauge shotgun, a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun, a whole lot of pipe bombs, like they say up to 100.
They at the end of it, they were just walking around throwing pipe bombs at shit.
Yeah, and of course the 4 knives, which didn't come into play.
Yeah, I don't imagine what they thought they were going to do with that.
Hey, you run out of ammo and you're still in the middle of it.
Jesus, you miscounted them.
Now, I don't know how much they brought in, but they fired over 130 rounds.
Yeah, most of the firing was actually done by Eric. He fired way more than Dylan. He also killed way more than Dylan.
Yeah, he was the one that actually wanted to go in there and kill everybody.
Like Dylan's main thing, like he was angry at the school too. He was angry at life, but his ultimate purpose was death.
Yeah.
He wanted to die. Eric's ultimate purpose was for other people to die, and if he died, then so be it.
Exactly.
But he was going to put on this show.
Right. So they come into the cafeteria, and so they sprayed the first 3 guys there. 2 of them died on the spot. The other one ducked in, hauled ass, found him some safety. They came into the cafeteria. I don't know if they actually went in the cafeteria or just sprayed it as they were walking by.
No, they went into the cafeteria. There's footage.
Okay, so yeah, they went into the cafeteria, and so they had got another fella that was hiding behind the wall. They shot his backpack, and it deflected in and caught him in the back, which left him hanging halfway in and out of the door of the cafeteria, right there by the entrance. Which happens to be where one of the bombs that was supposed to have gone off was sitting at, less than 5 feet away from this kid. So they went into the cafeteria. They shot a handful of folks there that were trying to find safety and get the hell out of Dodge.
I think they were trying to figure out what had gone on with the bombs.
I think that was why they went in there first to find out if they could fix them, set them off. But
they did shoot at him, and they managed to get one of them to set off.
They did the other one later.
Yeah.
On the way out, which was the kid was sitting right beside it, and they were sitting there shooting at it. And it wound up when you're shooting at a bomb, it's propane.
If it's not meant for that kind, yeah.
Yeah, it's not meant to go off that way.
Tannerite or something.
But yeah, it made a little fire. It went out pretty quick. Minimal damage there. Luckily for the kid that was laying right there, couldn't move. Yeah.
They spent overall, I think, like 2 minutes in the cafeteria.
Yeah, and then they went walking through the hall to get to the library, which is where they run into the principal and the girls coming out of the gym, which the principal did great. Got the girls to go right back into the gym area. Why they didn't turn and go into the gym, I don't know. You got targets of opportunity there. You just saw a crowd of girls go into the gym. They didn't turn to go into the gym. They continued on to the library.
Eric had said something along the lines of, and this was when
they had it planned. I imagine
they did. They said that there's 100 people in this school that probably deserve to live. The other 500 could go, and I think that's what he was kind of doing. I think that's why they let people go into the gym. It's like if you got into the gym before we get past you, then you're fine. They kind of left that as a safe zone, but you had to get there before they got before they got to the library and cut off entrance to the gym.
So they went into the library, which is where most of your geeks hang out.
Yeah.
Now, your geek that's been getting bullied, were they mad at the geeks for not fucking banding together and taking care of the bullies?
I think that it was because they knew that the library would be a big a place that people would run to. Like if they couldn't get to the gym, that'd be another big place to go hide.
Yeah, well, they were right.
Yeah.
Which is where one of the 911 calls come in, and there's a full video on YouTube with the full 911 call from the lady. I can't remember her name right now, but yeah, she was one of the teachers that was in the library trying to keep everybody calm and down and hope for the best. And there's a very long 911 recording of that conversation there where they were coming into the library.
Did you hear the 911 call with Eric's dad?
Uh-uh.
He actually called and he said, "Hey, I think one of my kid is involved with the shooting at Columbine while the shooting was going on." He's like, "I just came home and saw the news. He's part of that whole trench coat mafia thing." Yeah, it was Eric Harris's dad.
Oh wow. that had to be fucked up to come home and see that shit.
And just know.
Just know that. Yeah, that's your kid doing that shit.
Yeah.
What did you do wrong?
And man, there was a TED Talk with Dylan's mother, Sue Claybold, and it was actually really good. She talked about that, that she spent years wrestling herself, like at what point did I fuck up?
Yeah, how did she miss the suicidal thoughts that turned into murder?
Right, because she had no idea that Dylan had been dealing with the suicidal stuff that he had been.
Right.
And and it comes down to she feels like he probably actually suffered with it for about 2 years before it happened, and she had no idea. That's what she said. She was like, if you could stop suicides and homicides with love, there would be very few of them. She loved her son. She did everything she could. She just had no idea. He kept it hidden.
Yep.
And that's a very true thing. Like most people,
Yes, very, very much so. Most people that have those kind of thoughts, they know what normal is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they put on a very good act. Because they don't want you to worry about them. They've got enough problems of their own to worry about you worrying about them. So they're not going to come out and just outright ask for the help. So if you happen to see somebody that's just a little off, look into it, folks.
So yeah, she says she lived in fear of running into the parents of someone whose child had been killed by her son, or running into an angry citizen. She's like, and after a while, she started getting panic attacks. She just,
who can blame her? I mean, there had to be enough hate to go around.
She started going through her own depression and suicidal phase, and she actually, when she was going through that, she actually got kind of an insight as to what Dylan had been dealing with. And she still says there's nothing I can say, that would make it that takes it away. There's nothing I can do for what my son did. She's like, but I've tried to understand. She's like, I've tried to find out why, how. She's like, the only thing. She's like, it wasn't my fault, but I still feel guilty. And that's what she says.
She had to put on that act herself to get through her days.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
she understood how she missed it. Yeah. It's a real good TED Talk or TEDx Talk or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
But Sue Claypool, definitely look that up. Also, there's a very good thing I found on YouTube from a Dr. Grande. He does a lot of little, like I said, he kind of Fraser Cranes his way through mass murderers and different things. And he gives a psychological evaluation of them, based on the case material and what background he can find. He gives it is very really really good. I would suggest anybody to look him up. I'll post a link to it in the show notes. But yeah, it's very good. Look at Eric and Dylan. But where were we?
We were at the point where they were getting into the library.
Oh yeah.
And this is where some of the tales get a little bit disturbing. These guys, of course they were firing at random shit. They shot out the windows at the cops that were showing up here at this time, and some of the kids that were running out of the buildings over toward to hide behind cars. And they were walking through the library.
Well,
kind of playing little duck duck goose kind of games.
yeah, there was 56 students and staff inside the library when they got there. Dylan opens the doors and shouts, "We're going to kill every one of you." So, yeah, that's their entrance into the library.
Yeah, but they don't.
No,
They just kind of meander around the place and just kind of duck under the table with this and let peekaboo and shoot one person that's hiding under that table.
Yeah, that's the person that. Oh my God! And the Christians loved it so much that. All right, so that girl that was under the table, right? There was this whole thing that he asked her if you believe in God, and she said yes, so he shot her. And the Christians loved that. They're, oh, look at that. It's all the devil. They took prayer out of school, and now look what's happening. Now look what's happening to our children.
Yeah, instead of picking up on the part where she didn't fucking denounce her God in the face of
what
danger.
happened, that didn't happen like that. All he said to this girl was peekaboo and shot her and killed her. There was another girl in the library who she was like, oh my God, and he was stopped by reloading his gun or some shit like that, and he was like, what, do you believe in God? And she said, yeah. He was like, why? He's like, I was taught to believe in God. My parents believed in God. And he basically just shrugged and let her live. He walked away.
Yeah.
She survived. So this whole thing, if somebody got killed for Christ, didn't fucking happen. Didn't fucking happen.
Oh, of course not. Oh,
Like, say that again to every Southern Baptist preacher, it didn't fucking happen.
and even if it did, you focused on the wrong part of that particular narrative. But yeah, they didn't shoot everybody in there, and they had ample ammunition and opportunity. They were in there for quite some time.
Yeah.
And
They
nobody
killed
was
10
running around.
students and injured 21 others.
Yeah, and there was more than that in the library.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they definitely didn't go in there to kill everybody because they didn't kill people they had dead
They
to rights.
wanted to, like, their original plan, they were hoping to kill 500 people.
Yeah, they were hoping to kill
And, like,
in
their
a
expert
mass.
would have said was like it would have been pretty close.
Yeah, had the bombs
plan.
went off, they would have probably killed 40 or 50 right off the bat, and then just spraying them as it would come out the door,
And then the secondary explosion,
which would have made them stop. But where do you go now when you run into safety and safety explodes? You're going to freeze.
Yep.
Which is going to create the killing ground.
And they
Yeah,
have all
they
these
had
pipe
it planned
bombs to
out.
throw into crowds, so basically grenades.
Yeah,
I mean-
so they had this shit planned, but it didn't go according to plan. So they just went, all right, fuck it, let's just go shoot random folk. Instead of spraying everybody they see. I don't know what changed there, but it's a very lucky thing that mindset did change, or that those timers failed. Because they definitely changed their entire plan when they went with Plan B.
Yeah.
They didn't go for mass murder; they just went for selective murder.
Yeah, kind of.
But there was no real
Not
selection.
even really selection. It was like rolling dice.
Yeah. How do you look at me when I point my gun at you is going to determine whether or not I pull the trigger, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when they decided. I don't know if they were running low on ammunition or just got freaking tired of it.
I
But
think they were just getting bored.
they started shooting at the rescue squad for a little while. But things started calming down. They started running out of targets maybe that they felt like killing, and for some reason they just decided to.
Yeah.
end it.
So Eric shouts while holding his gun in the air, Today the world's going to come to an end. Today's the day we die." Then him and Dylan lit a Molotov cocktail off, and then they turned their guns on each other. There were students sitting there watching as they shot themselves in the head. But that ended the shooting spree.
Now, this particular thing shot off a whole bunch of stuff about the anti-bullying brigade.
Yep.
But bullying's been around.
Introduced me to the music of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, there was there's a lot of good music actually come out, in the early 2000s. After this, a lot of people started getting angry. It really did make music better.
Yeah, it did.
Y'all folks say what y'all want to about it. It was all the movies. It was the games and all that kind of stuff. Bad homes. These folks didn't come from bad homes.
No.
Now, one of them did have a thing for Doom apparently. But Doom was a popular game. A lot of people had a thing for Doom.
I've seen people with the exact same amount of hang-ups with Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto
Yeah, I was a Call of Duty nut.
or DayZ.
Yeah, I'm still a DayZ nut. I've been playing that one for years, and I still haven't run off in the daggone woods shooting everybody I see out there running.
No, I haven't either, and I love Doom. I liked that game we were talking about on the other episode, Hatred. I liked it. I haven't done anything like that. You know, I wouldn't.
Like I said, it's all anecdotal, but you know, I come from the broken home. I've been bullied. I mean, I was a short, fat kid in young school, and when I come back out, I was a skinny, fucking short kid that had a fucking long hair. I got teased all the damn time. I was always a bully. I was a geek. I was in a chess club with long hair and a trench coat. I got picked on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the bullying was just a part of it.
Yeah. There's definitely a multifaceted thing that's going to be the root of this that we're going to be trying to discuss on the main episode. But this particular thing, I mean, the bullying being the main key, it's just one tiny piece of a puzzle here because that one thing, at least in the eyes of any person that has a drop of sanity, just because somebody picks on you is not going to make you hate the entire fucking world to the point where you're going to go shoot them. There's other underlying causes in there. There's a bigger picture to see.
Yeah, without a doubt. So this led to many schools in America had these zero tolerance policies after this.
Yeah.
For anything resembling violent behavior. This one kid got expelled for pointing a chicken nugget at someone and going bang. It got ridiculous. I remember the metal detectors going up in the schools.
Yeah.
They also put up in the school I was at, they put up a little rope barrier where you when you're walking in the hallway, you couldn't go walking off. You had to take exits in the hallway.
Designated drop off and pick up spots.
Yeah. It changed the way school operates completely. After this, if you got in a fight in school, it didn't matter if you started it or not. You were expelled just like the other one. There was a lot of crazy shit that came out of it. And that's pretty much Columbine. It changed the way we look at school. This was also the biggest news story in the 1990, well, the second biggest next to OJ. It was everywhere. I remember for a fucking year, it seemed, I couldn't come home without Grandpa watching the news and them talking about goddamn Columbine.
I mean, it was a tragic thing, but yeah, they really pushed it into the ground.
And it felt like every time I'm watching the news on it, I felt like that they were attacking me. They were going on about Doom. They were going on about not just Marilyn Manson. They were going on about Ozzy Osbourne. They were going on, about all of it. And it's like
every movie sensationalized.
Yeah, the kids that wear a bunch of black clothes and black lipstick and all that. It's like you're attacking me, and you don't want. Did we not learn anything?
Yeah,
from
shortly after this was a fair in one of the local towns, and I was still in my trench coat days, and it was the middle of spring. It was an 80-degree day, but I had a summer trench coat, and I had a winter trench coat. So I was in my summer trench coat, which is a very thin one, but it was a black trench coat.
Mike grew up in the Ice Age.
No, I actually hate the heat, but I love the cold though. But yeah,
Me too.
but yeah, I was walking through this town gathering with a black trench coat and got surrounded by fucking cops and yanked out into a side alley, slammed up against the wall and searched, all because I was wearing a black trench coat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stopped wearing fucking black trench coats, man. I'm like, God damn, this is how you're gonna get treated like this? Fine. Fuck you guys.
I think my stepmom actually threw mine out after all this went down, and she found out that I actually had one because I had been kind of sneaking it. But yeah, and like I said, for a long time, it felt like maybe I remember thinking, well, maybe they'll do something about bullying. It's like no.
Well, they started all kinds of programs and stuff, but it still happens. You're not going to stop it.
Nah, man. You can't. There's been times, have we learned nothing from Columbine? We're still picking on these kids.
Well, let me say, you'll never stop it by putting in a program to target bullies.
No.
Okay? The only way we're ever going to stop shit like that is to raise better people. You got to have good people raising better people. maybe schools should actually start teaching humanity. We're not learning it at home, apparently. So if we're going to force feed ourselves something in schools, let's make it basic humanity.
Well, you also go look at, like, other countries don't really have this problem like we do. You know?
Well,
what are they teaching? And like I said, we'll get into this in our main episode over this topic. But that's another thing. It's like, this is almost exclusively an American phenomenon.
it is. Now, other countries do have, school shootings. They do have gun violence. In fact, that, if you actually just look at it as a basic gun violence issue, as a per capita, nation to nation thing, we don't even make the top 20 in gun violence. We have more guns than any other country. We have a slightly larger population than most of these other countries. So our guns and per capita are higher than damn near any other country. And we're not even in the top 20 on gun violence if you look at it by the actual numbers per capita.
Well, like I said, we'll definitely get into the numbers with it. That'll be a part of our
it's definitely coming in our main episode, folks. So you definitely want to tune into that if you have any concerns about any of this, no matter which side of the table that you sit on. Nobody's going to be throwing any kind of judgment out on this. Everybody's got their views and they've got their reason for their views, and they're going to fight for their views. Everybody here at this table understands and respects that in every aspect of it. I don't care if you're trying to take away my Second Amendment right to carry a gun. I am not going to hold that against you because of whatever beliefs you have to make you make that decision. I ask you to have the same type of tolerance for me when I say I would much rather keep it. As long as we can have that, we can get to whatever discussion comes out of it in the future, and we'll all have to live with it. So definitely tune into that our main episode. I don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after. I think I want to put this out for another week or so just to make sure we both have plenty of time to get all the relevant information and to present this in the most open-minded way that we can for you folks.
Plus, we still have 20 years of shootings to cover. I think. What do you want to go next to Let's see. Our next one. You want to do the theater guy? The guy whose name I can never remember.
Was that Vienna was Sandy Hook before that?
Well, let's see.
I think the Pulse was before. I think the Pulse was
before. Now, see, I gotta go back to my list of mass shootings. List of Rampage killers.
So we'll find out which major one was next. We'll definitely touch that. But let's find out real quick. I'm curious. I got to find out exactly when that Pulse was now. All right, Google. Too bad I don't have the speak recognition on that. 16. Oh, wow.
What?
The Pulse.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty recent.
Well, you know me in time. Still think paper is modern technology.
Let's see.
I finally got my scroll wrap back up.
Oh, yeah? How about that?
I don't even know what they call the freaking theater.
I can't remember either, man. All right, now let me get. I'm down here to Jesus. Oh wow, I forgot there was a Waco shootout in 2015.
Yeah, we definitely got enough.
Again, folks, we are missing a lot of shooters, but even if we were doing an episode every day and we only did mass shooters in the United States since 1980, we're never going to finish. Like it's well, not when they add 3, not when they're adding 3 a week now.
This last year has been pretty bad. Which we'll cover some conspiracy on that in our main episode. But yeah, it's definitely picked up a rise here lately. I think it's still an average of about, before this year was an average of about
12
to 15.
Virginia Tech.
Ah.
Yeah.
We don't have to hit
That was
every single one. It's the main ones.
This is one of the main
This
ones.
Virginia Tech's a pretty good one.
This is one of the ones, if we get feedback saying, hey, you skipped this one, I would hang my head in shame.
Yeah.
Because this was the first real big one that at least hit my radar, after Columbine. Not counting the DC sniper, that I consider a completely different type of killing.
Yeah, that's definitely not in
That's
the
a
same.
spree killer.
Yeah, that's a genre switch. That's kind of like the whole.
Charles Manson being a serial killer thing, which he's not.
Well, I was thinking about the whole, if you're going to put it as a genre switch, put it into a musical reference that you would have, speed metal to death metal. They're both in the metal. They're both killings that happen with multiple folks from the same murderer that wasn't spread over enough to actually call it a serial killing.
Yeah.
It happened in a short enough time that it was a mass killing, but it wasn't a mass shooting.
Which is why, yeah.
So it's a slight genre pop, but we're going to talk a little bit about it. It's probably not going to get as much detail as especially this one, and definitely the next one. But we'll definitely touch on it when its turn comes up.
Well, then we should probably do this DC Snipers and Virginia Tech next then, because the DC Snipers was like 2002, 2001, 2002.
Yeah, all it needs is
Yeah, a little thing.
It's a blurb in the actual timeline here with the DC Snipers. I mean, horrible event, of course, but when you're looking at it in the scope of the other ones that we're covering on this, it's really,
something different.
Yeah,
it's something different, and I think it would be a good way. Doing a little mini thing with that would be good to show the difference.
Yeah, it'd be a quick little 15-minute intro.
Sure,
into
yeah, and
that kind of a thing should be doing it justice and fitting it in pretty good.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely touch on that one. That sounds like a good one to hit. But yeah, folks, I hope you enjoyed. That was our take on the Columbine incident. Again, it pains us to have to cover things this horrible, but you can't even possibly come up with any discussion until you actually recognize there's something to discuss. So we're not going to hide from this. I've got my position on the whole weapons thing, but this is, a realization that, everybody on that side needs to realize this is a problem, folks, and you got to pay attention. So thank you for coming along with us on this journey. I appreciate every single one of you for sticking around and listening to us when you have other choices out there.
Speaking of choices, you can find us on the very podcast listening app you're listening to right now.
Absolutely.
We are there for sure. We may or may not also be on Spotify, Patreon, Podchaser, Acast, Amazon Music, Audible. We're going to be up on YouTube. Yep.
We should be available just about anywhere that you would download this type of program.
Yeah. Unless you're Apple Music, and we'll get around to that one day. But in the meantime, if you have Apple Music and you have found our podcast some other way, just stick with that. Apple is a pain in the ass. They really are.
Yeah, folks. Why are you still using Apple?
What the fuck? Why?
But folks, it has been an absolute pleasure. You'll also see a new channel coming up on the YouTube, and of course, we'll be showing some links on how to get in contact with us through Twitter, Facebook. Got a Discord account coming up for folks that really want to speak their mind without the government overlords saying that you saying something wrong.
I mean, the government overlords are there. You can probably count on that.
Yeah,
but at least it's not Zuck.
But I've got ways around them. If they keep shutting down my channel, I'll make another one. They can't stop the system.
Well, we could just do like certain other people of the orange persuasion and make our own platform.
I'm not that smart.
Neither is he. He just paid someone to do it. Can you picture Trump sitting there coding?
I'm not that rich.
Fucking with the pucker face. Stops to kiss a flag every once in a while. All right.
How do we make this bigger?
It's going to be great. All right, folks. So I guess until next time, fuck around and find out.
Or be better people.
All righty.